All right. See, now this is new for me. Even though I'm the younger host, the StreamYard stuff something new for me, right? So this is Motion to Adjourn online edition. Thank you to benefactor and sponsors at the Bermuda Broadcasting Company. And we have today Mikal Minors from Better Digital Solutions. And thank you so much for joining us. And we're really excited about this new StreamYard bringing out the young people who are doing a lot of good things in the island. So would you mind introducing yourself to our audience and the listening public?
Yeah, of course. First, thank you for having me. My name is Mikal Minors. As was just said, I run Better Digital Solutions, which is a custom AI solutions agency. Recently, I became a Rotarian, no longer the youngest, but still one of the youngest, so proud of that. And then, probably most notably, I moderated the AI panel at the Tech Summit. That was a huge opportunity, so very much grateful for that. And following in that trend, I have been invited here today. So things are looking pretty good.
Yeah. Well, a little bit of a big deal. Not a big deal,
Just a
but
little
just
bit, a little bit.
yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. And I mean, obviously, with Bermuda, a lot of the consensus from younger folks who have been overseas and other people who have been overseas is that we're a little behind globally when it comes to technology and artificial intelligence. So, what are some of the things that you feel will bring us up to speed? And what are some of those things that your company actually handles?
Shoot, it's funny. It doesn't even start at AI. Like you said, we're so behind. When we talk to companies about doing an AI solution, 9 times out of 10, their website needs to be fixed first, or the social media isn't up to date, or they're not even collecting data the way that they should be. So the first thing that we always do with companies is make sure that you are up to date. We are end-to-end solutions, so we do all the design and the development and stuff to make sure you're straight. As far as AI goes, customer support being AI is looked at like a luxury. The reality is it's essential. When you go to any other place in the world, you can tap your phone somewhere and pay for your stuff and then walk out and everything is automated. And then you come here and it's like the Stone Ages. Everywhere else has customer service that is under 60 seconds, exactly what you need, and it is always professional. That is like, I wouldn't even get into amazing innovations. That is where we start. That's the first step.
Right. And do you believe that this is kind of hindering our competitiveness, globally when it comes to just about everything, tourism, business, government services?
Tell you what, I believe Manchester United still has a chance to be great. I know this is holding us back. Like, it's no question.
And we've seen some movement. I think it was spoken about in the insurance community about the possibility of AI kind of coming in to establish some efficiencies in that particular sector. And I think people have heard a lot about that. But where are some of the efficiencies you see outside of business that could help the everyday Bermudian?
Outside of business, did you ever see I think it was an Amazon store that went entirely cashierless? You saw that?
I did.
So that is like, it's within business, but it's outside of it and it shows the principle. Um, Day-to-day interactions that previously involved people, where people were the liability, people were the thing that slowed it down, we can just remove that. So when you're making sensitive phone calls about like something's wrong with me and it's a small community, so I don't want the person that answers the phone to know my business, that can be an AI. That is huge quality of life improvement. And then getting a bit more into innovation and creative cool stuff. There's a technology right now, most people would know it by ChatGPT Vision. It's giving computers the ability to see. If I could go sit down into my office and then my computer can tell me what my mood is and then play the song that I like, change the light into the way that I like it and set the atmosphere. It's so simple and it's so small. but it would improve so much of our life because we would stop making so many small decisions and be able to focus on the big decisions. Like everything around you should just happen as you want it to without you having to take the steps to do it. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense.
It does. And I mean, before we segue too much into the artificial intelligence, I do want to give you a chance to, speak about, you as an individual and your journey
Oh.
into this industry, and also, your where your passion comes from. Like, why this out of everything,
Um, shoot. You said this is live?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
recorded. It'll be
okay,
recorded.
okay. Um, it has been a journey. Um, being a young entrepreneur is hard. Being a young Black entrepreneur is hard. Being
Mm,
a young Black entrepreneur who made great life decisions and marked yourself permanently in very distinguishable places,
somebody's
honestly,
on to saying "I told you so."
yeah, hindsight's 2020, as they say. Um, honestly, the biggest part of this journey that nobody prepared me for was recognizing that we become the examples that we're looking for while we're still looking for them. So being in a position where I don't know what tomorrow looks like, still having to have the confidence to move forward and express that confidence, and then having people look to me to try to find guidance, that is a crazy experience. But from that, it kind of humbled me. It kind of made me realize, okay, this is bigger than me. There are people looking at me, and me succeeding doesn't just mean me succeeding. It means there's a path now where there wasn't one. I think that's the biggest epiphany moment of the journey. The passion from it, though, came from I was in the crypto boom. Not my proudest moment, not the greatest thing I've ever done, but it happened, and it was fun. It was exciting. From
Okay.
there, once I started seeing where that industry was going, it wasn't something that I believed in as much. So either I can sell something I don't believe in, or I can pivot and do something I do believe in. All those skills of coding and software and design and website development were perfect for this. So from being in the industry that's dying and I don't know what I'm doing, to going back to my roots of brand design and digital marketing, to then having the ability to start making AI tools and people being like, hey, I'll buy that from you now. It just made so much sense. I love the technology. I love the design elements of it. I love the innovation of it, and people want it. That's it. It's, I wish it was more special than that, but it's just the demand is there, the skills are there. Why wouldn't we?
I think that's more than adequate of a reason.
Yeah.
And I just before we get into the generality of AI again, what are some of these specific services that Better
Real.
Digital Solutions offers? And if anyone's listening who might want to implement that into their business.
Right. So right now, the key key AI services that we're offering is the customer support bots that live on your website, live on your Facebook, live in your WhatsApp business, and they answer any customer question 24/7, 365, under 60 seconds. That is the key part. Having 30-minute wait time, an hour wait time for your average response, that is such a bad user experience. Having it be under 60 seconds, no matter what day it is, no matter what holiday, immediately sets you apart from the competition. From there, we also do the internal support suites, specifically for companies that have multiple departments or they have freelancers abroad. And it's a lot of, let me check the documents, let me look at the files, let me ask Tony in sales. All of that information can be available to you in a simple message today. Like that just makes sense. And then at the highest level, of course, we do proprietary software. So if a company, say you have a website builder and you want to infuse AI into your website builder, but you also want to own the intellectual property, you want to have proprietary rights to it, and you want it to be an investment on your balance sheet instead of just an expense, that's the proprietary software solutions. Those are our three key things.
Okay. And we spoke about a lot of positives, right? And I know people listening are worrying about the negatives, right? So give you two big meaty cons that a lot of people speak about when speaking about this, whether from ignorance like myself, because I don't quite know the industry as
Right.
well. I would defer to you, or from past experiences. So obviously, the first one being is potential job loss and whether the economy can sustain that, because you go from efficiency, but then you kind of lose a bit of you get efficiency and productivity per se, but you lose um, people paying into the economy. And then
Yeah.
of course, we've had a cyber attack. And how do these systems hold up in the case of a system going down? And you got to go back to paper or whatever, and all the people are gone. If that makes sense.
Yeah. It's real questions. Second one first, and then the most controversial one second.
Hmm.
Security first. This is what the approach to deal with the security issues is what separates a freelance person that's just doing this on the side versus having a business put it together for you. Um, there are liabilities, there are risks. One simple thing with ChatGPT, they've recently announced the ability to do data analysis, which means that you can upload files and you can interact with your spreadsheets, you can do cost analysis, things like that. It's amazing stuff. The issue that we found is that when you build with this, because it has the ability to upload and give you files to download, there are ways for people to brute force it and download any files that you uploaded to it. So
Hmm.
without going too deep, you have a chat bot, you have the knowledge base, which is files that you upload so it can learn from it and know that stuff. That's what people are downloading. So if you do a staff training bot for all your staff, and you have something confidential in there that's important for it to know, but you don't want them to download it, that is not the right approach. And that's where security is going to be a big risk. People not knowing what not to do, seeing all the potential and just going crazy, and then open themselves up to liability. So really, when businesses are approaching this stuff, they need to sit, they need to talk to the professionals. They need to not look at how can I get this for as cheap as possible, because $1 million company going under because you wanted to save $500 is never a good idea. So that's the big risk there, just people not knowing what they're doing. As far as job loss, this is live and it is recorded. People will lose jobs. In the same way that when cars came out, horse and buggers were not the most fashionable. In that same way, there will be new industry, there will be new jobs. And
Hmm.
the most important thing is not to ask, will we lose jobs, but why will we lose jobs? Because if you really look at it, if my role is to fill out forms, is to send communications back and forth, and is to just interact with the customers and then report to my boss, all of that can be automated. So most people would be like, oh, it's not good to cost people that job. We should not adopt the technology so we can keep that position. But then I would say, okay, look at the implications. You've now saved $70,000 for that one employee across 10 different departments. That now adds up to a good chunk of change. It's about $700,000 that can now go to our roads, it can go to our youth, it can go to drug counseling, it can go to different community initiatives. All of these things become possible by easing up the burden, but it takes starting with implementing these stuff. And because this is live and recorded, I want to add a little bit of good news. It's not going to be the way that we think. It's not going to be AI comes out and now everybody loses their jobs and it's all over. It's going to be like our approach to it is empower staff that exists, give them the AI tools they need to do their job better, start automating the processes in step 2, take them from doing the work to overseeing the work, and then 3, streamlining the process so that future businesses have leaner teams. Not so that the big teams become small teams, just from now on, entrepreneurs can do more with less. That is the best way to approach it. And I think that that's what we want to be pushing to the public.
I agree. I think it's a transition like everything else, right? And I mean, obviously, I don't see any companies just being like, "I've got AI now, all right," and just put people on the street. I think it will be a transition of all right, Carolyn, this is gonna
Yeah,
make your job a lot easier. And then when she retires, probably won't won't hire in that position again. But I
exactly.
think it's even following on from that. I think the thought process for us should be what jobs can we create, right? I mean, like what how does that new world look, and how can we get our Bermudians ready for it? So that leads me to my next question:
Mhm.
how can we get Bermudians
Ready?
ready for it? Yeah.
The first step for everybody, this is like not even about business, just people in general, need to start getting hands-on experience with AI. So that can be as simple as signing up for ChatGPT and playing with it a little bit, seeing what it can do, how it works. That is like bare minimum hands-on experience. From there, companies have to start bringing out the customer support. They start having their staff oversee the customer support, understanding how it interacts, how it can be better. From there, two important skills come from that. One, the hands-on experience gives you prompt engineering, which means I know how to prompt this in the way that gets the best results. And then from there, you get fine tuning and training, which is I see how it's operating, I know how to make it better. If you have those two skill sets, you are ahead of so many people immediately. And we can have the entirety of Bermuda be at that point in the next 6 months. But it just takes the buy-in. Well, it can take
Mhm.
6 years, like everything else that we're still behind on. So that's why we're so aggressive. Like, let's do what we can. Let's push this.
Agreed. And how has the support been from the community for better digital solutions? Have you found that people tend to, come around to what you're pitching, or even seek you out?
Yeah. We've got a couple of Terminator jokes, a couple of Skynet jokes, so it's to be expected. But for the
I was
most
going to
part,
make a few, but I didn't. I didn't do
I
it.
figured I've been waiting for it, man. But like, truth be told, people seem really receptive to it. It
Mm,
seems like the overall consensus is I know that it's essential. I can't wrap my head around it enough to spend money on it yet. I just don't know enough. So that's why we're just let's educate, and then let's get there.
And how was your experience at the Tech Summit?
Tech Summit? Oh my God. Have you ever talked to somebody who knew so much more than you did about something and you just like, uh-huh, sounds good. Yeah, that's great. The Tech Summit had some of the smartest people I've ever met. I learned about 5G being not what I thought it was whatsoever. And then at the highest level, there was a gentleman there from Bloomberg, and he was talking about the fact they're using AI for, I could be wrong, don't quote me on this. I believe it was risk assessment and projections to help them make better decisions in trades, which
Mm,
is just like, it makes so much sense to me. It's so far out of my depth, but like those types of applications, amazing.
I agree. I mean, I feel like everybody there would know more than me. But
Yeah, yeah.
so I
Smart
will get
people.
that experience talking to anybody there. But
Yeah,
moving away from business a little bit, because as I know, and many other people probably know, if they are looking at you hard enough, is that you started out as a creative.
I did.
And our creative industry, to put it uh, politely, is struggling.
Yeah.
So how do you feel that this could enrich a creative's life, getting into this technology, and how it could benefit them, and how has it benefited you?
We are at the is AI art conversation. There's a big talk right now about text to image tools where essentially you can just type out a message saying create a beautiful sunset overlooking a black sand beach, and it'll create that image for you. And then you have a lot of people saying that I made art with this, which yes but no. The best way that creatives can start adopting this technology is for reference. The way that I like to explain it to people is the same way that you start a project and you go and you find reference images on Pinterest or Google is the same way that you would use an AI to help inform your decision making, not make the decisions for you. So a perfect example, we have the art show coming up this December for BSOA. If I was to go and say, I'm going to make an art piece using AI and enter that into the art exhibit, I am not a good person. All the artists there would feel slighted, as they realistically should, and it doesn't come across as genuine. The approach that we take is we create the concept art using AI, so it gives us the best reference to start with. We iterate on that using our own skills with our own hands and our own equipment. We take that, we do another iteration using the AI to improve where we can, and then we go back and we do the work ourselves. That is the overall principle of how you should use AI tools as a creative. Whether it's music, whether it's art, whether it's video, use the AI to inform your decision making, use it to iterate on concepts, do the work yourself. And that also protects you from legal issues like people saying that you can't copyright the art because it was made by a machine. It wasn't made by a machine. I made this. It was just the concepts that came from the machine. That's the best approach.
And as you know, on the eastern side of the world, you have fully AI pop stars. Like people who are able to, fully replicate a vocal
Yeah.
or a voice, and these things are becoming reality. Whereas before, you saw them now and then when you were scrolling, but now it's like whole concerts, whole paraphernalia, all of that stuff. And do you feel like eventually creatives will call for some sort of you know
Protection.
yeah, some sort of protection, some sort of stoppage from competition, or is this just the
We're
way it
already
is?
here. Artists are in an uproar. AI companies have started coming out and saying that we will protect any user against any legal action because there's so much legal action being taken. There was an artist who famously stole Drake's voice, he stole The Weeknd's voice, he stole Rihanna's voice, went on a string of like 10 to 12 songs. Each one of them charted, each one of them was hits. There's two approaches to it. Either you can say, I don't like this and I want to fight it. And you can use all of your financial resources to go up against this multi-billion-dollar company and try your best. Or you can say, okay, I think it was Grimes that did this. You have the ability to use my voice to make music. We will do a royalty deal where if you create something, you bring it to me, I authorize it, and now you take a royalty split. So you, the artist, still maintain the profitability of your voice and your likeness, but also you don't actively try to stop what's already happening. If you have 100,000 people making songs on your behalf, you could make money off of it, or you could be upset about it. And that's kind of going to be the emotional battle we have to face.
And I mean, it was kind of going that way with Paradise, but we didn't really clock it, right?
True.
We didn't really clock it, but it was
No,
it was heading that way already, where people didn't even need AI to really imitate a voice.
no,
So I feel like these
that's
issues are
funny.
just exacerbated, right?
Yeah.
But given that you mentioned likeness, and you may know, I'm a bit of a politician.
Oh, I didn't notice.
Yeah, and, as you might know, my co-host is a whole politician.
Oh, wow.
So it's in America. What we are watching was this potential to kind of rustle or ruffle the political arena as well, with deep fakes, electioneering interference, and things like that. How do you think that that will fare here in Bermuda? Because obviously we're at a smaller scale, but I feel like as a smaller scale is a little bit easier, right? How do you perceive a government to navigate that, and do you think that might be why they're slightly reluctant to embrace it on a wider scale?
Realistically, um, you guys are probably in the one space where I would advise against adopting certain tools. So, for example, with the deep fake technology, if the government was to do the virtual avatar thing that we talked about, where you create a virtual likeness of somebody, they could, in theory, create a lot more content, be a lot more connected, hit a lot more targets because they can make a lot more content now. They don't actually have to be involved. The risk comes in where if we normalize that, the populace will start to associate that virtual likeness with official sayings. And a virtual likeness can be recreated by anybody. So if I can download a politician's voice and face, and he's already normalized that type of content, I can now put out something where a politician is saying awful things, and you wouldn't know how to distinguish it because that's the medium that they use. So the only way that politicians can really navigate is to take a firm, hands-off approach. We do not endorse any re-recordings of our voices being manipulated for the purposes of AI. We do not endorse our likenesses being used in any virtual medium. Unfortunately, that means you guys shouldn't be doing 3D. You guys shouldn't be doing any of that stuff right now. And that way you guys can set a standard where if it's not coming from our official channels with our official faces, with a little bit of stubble and my hairline's not perfect, it's not me. If you see that perfect person, that is not me.
Yeah. And that's why I grow up my hair a little bit now and then, and then I cut it, because I'm gonna let people know I had my hair cut at that time. So if you see anything, that wasn't me. But
Tell you, bro.
I tell you, the time goes quick. So I got 4 minutes left,
Yeah.
and I think it'd probably be best to end on a positive note. First, I'd like to just have you reaffirm your services that you spoke about at the top, in case anybody might have missed it or hadn't heard it.
So the core offerings that we have at Better Digital Solutions, that's betterdigital.solutions, is customer support bots that automate your website interactions, your Facebook Messenger interactions, and your WhatsApp for business interactions. We also do automated email with the customer support bots. So anytime you guys are getting an email, it's instantly answered and it's accurate based on your company's information. We also do the internal support suite, which is all of your company's documents and files in one concise bot, where instead of having to search through 50 different documents, you can just type in a question and it'll answer it. And then at the top level, we do the proprietary software for businesses that are looking to not only bring in AI into their corporation, but integrate it into their current offerings and develop new products that have AI built into it and it be on their balance sheets. That also we offer. And those are our big three right now.
Okay. And just something that you would like to leave with the listening audience, maybe a misconception they may have about AI, maybe something positive that we didn't get to touch on, what would be something that you would leave the listening public with if you wanted them to hear one thing today about AI?
It won't be positive. It is a warning. Don't think of AI as a system that you buy and then you have. Think of AI as a foundation. As we start building out these tools, you will buy one thing that can do a million other things over the course of the next 6 to 12 months. I say that to say, think about homegrown talent that serves the best interests of the community. Don't put all the faith into an outsourced company who has all the rights to your data, has all the rights to pricing, and can essentially say that in 5 years, if we've built an entire system on another person in another country, they have the ability to destroy everything and put a halt on it. We need people that act in Bermuda's best interest, understand the negative impacts of overpricing things, and have a heart to take losses where it's in the best interest of the community. So just think about doing these things here. There's other people that do these same services. Just look, they're not hard to find. But yeah, really focus on making sure that we build with the best interest of Bermuda's future at heart.
Thank you for that, Mikal. And with that, make sure to let everybody know, this recording will be played, replayed on Power 95. So I'd like to thank ZBM and BBC, Bermuda Broadcasting Company, again for supporting our motion to adjourn, and also share, like, and subscribe to the YouTube if you want to see some more of this stuff. And Mikal, if you would be able to, just really quickly, where can people find you?
Mikal Minors on LinkedIn, and I look forward to seeing you all and speaking with you soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming. We look forward to seeing how things develop.
Thank you for having me.